Great news, I finally got this digitized. If you want to read it, follow the link in the description. If you want to stick around and listen to my rant of the hell I had to go through in order to make that happen, feel free. So the first thing I had to do was remove the staples that were in the middle of it so that when I scanned it, the staples weren't in the scans. And, yeah, I had to take these tweezers, stick it under one of them. That somehow sounds sexual, but anyway, I had to put it under one of the staples and then carefully bend it without ripping any of the paper. And then the staples themselves end up getting bent. And then I had to take out one sheet of the other sheet, being very careful not to rip or tear any of it. Anyway, then I had to lay each sheet. Basically, this is a sheet, by the way, but the page number is like, this is the middle sheet, so on this side it's 31, 2, 33. On the other side, we've got 34 and 31. So what I ended up having to do, because all the page numbers are out of order, but I still just found it easier to grab a sheet, then on one side of my scanner, scanned it, turned to the other side, scanned it, flip it open like so. Then I had to scan this side, and then the other side, making sure I also had all that carefully lined up so that everything would be straight and not sort of on an angle. Then I had to carefully put all these sheets back so that they would be in the exact same order. Then I had to look. This is also after I scanned everything. I'm like, okay, let's see. This picture, let me find that one. I'm going to label that picture as number 1. Then, when you open up the book, it's like, okay, this is page number 2, that's page number 3. Then I had to label those as such so that everything's in order. I then found out that some of the pages in the very middle end up being, you know, this, you know, like that one picture but spread over 2 pages. And my scanner, for whatever reason, there was about, like, I'd say, let's just say about a centimeter, maybe even half a centimeter that wouldn't scan on that side because it's designed for A4 size sheets. So I tried then to go and take those particular ones, which ended up being 4, what's it called? Technically 8 pages, but you know, when you combine them together it's like 4 pictures. So I tried taking that to a scanning store we have here in Australia that I will not name, but all of them said that they would not scan it due to copyright bullshit issues and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, alright, fine, whatever. The worst part of that was the fact I had to stand in a very long queue, and on the radio they were playing Backstreet Boys. Just kill me. Alright, please, just kill me. Anyway, then I had to go back home, fiddle around with my scanner to see if there was a way how I could, you know, customize the measurements. Every time I customize the measurements, the fucking thing on there, and it's an Epson scan, by the way, it was like faded out, which means that I can't click on it. And then it turns out what I was doing, I was using it in home office mode, and I had to just switch it to professional mode. Then I could add the custom measurements. So once I figured that out, and I felt like a fucking idiot afterwards, I was able to scan the entire part of this. Then I had to put that to MS Paint. Thank God I don't operate on Windows 10 because, you know, there was that whole rumor going on that Microsoft were going to get rid of MS Paint. Now it turns out they're not going to, but anyway, whatever. Kind of irrelevant. Point is, I work on 8.1, by the way. So I put that to Paint. Then I had to take the 2 images, put them together, and then of course you've still kind of got that crease line down the middle, which I couldn't avoid, so I then had to fiddle with things and then sort of like cropped apart on the very side, and then sort of like drag that over so that it would almost seem seamless. Yeah, those 2 words don't really seem to go together in the same sentence, do they? Seem seamless. Then, once I got all that done, you know, on the scanner as well, there was part of the actual, what they call, you know, when you like have that little lid that sits down the top, and on the back of the lid, the backdrop of it's white. The scanner still scanned part of that white part, so I then had to crop it. And I had to make a copy of every fucking photo, which was, what, like 68 in total, and then make copies of those, because the best program that I have in order to crop things with is Microsoft Office Picture Manager. The reason why that's the better one, there's a pro and a con. The pro is that each pixel, I just click on this little arrow, and what it'll do is, like, if I want to crop something, I can just move it pixel by pixel and get it exactly narrowed in. It's really much of a hassle to do cropping, for me anyway, with this sort of thing in mind, with MS Paint. So, after I finally got the cropping done, sometimes every now and then, maybe 2% of the time, 3% of the time, when you're using Microsoft Office Picture Manager, when you edit your photo in whatever way you're going to do, doesn't matter if you're like rotating it, cropping it, whatever the fuck, when you go to hit save, sometimes deletes the photo and it leaves in place just this white background of something like 500 kilobytes. So that's why I made copies, which I'm glad I did, because 10 of these 68 photos ended up going white. So I then had to copy the other ones that I saved over and then try and do it again, hoping it didn't fuck up. Then turns out that the pictures were quite large in size, because I scanned them in 800 DPI. For those of you that don't know what DPI means, it stands for dots per inch, and 800 is quite a high def scan. So each one ended up being about 53 megabytes. So I then had to reduce the size of the photos. They're still quite high def, don't worry. But from what they were, I changed it to being from like 100%, only made it 60% of that, so that I can sort of like compress the files down and have them be shared easier. Then, once all that was done, which took a while, I then had to go to the people at, Recomic Online and contact them saying, yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to upload all these images in a zip folder to a file sharing site, and then once that's done, I'll send you the link, then you guys can download it, and then, you take the photos out of that, then you upload it to your site. Right fucking now, as I'm filming this, I'm still uploading those pictures to the file sharing site. And explain this. Because the files were so large in size, even when I did shrink them down, I got it to just under a gig, and that every time I tried to upload to the site, it kept saying, oh, internet error, this fucked up, wouldn't upload, try again. When you have to try again, it doesn't resume your fucking download from, like, if you're on 50%, it goes back to 0, and then you need to start from scratch. So I was like, Christ almighty. So I ended up having to, like, put all the individual fucking photos. I was like, okay, 10 go in this folder, the next 10 go in the next one, which I'll aptly name Part 2. So now I'm uploading Part 4 of 7. So once all those are done, and I keep sending the links to the people on the site so that they can get it. And so anyway, I'm not going to be uploading this video until I know for a fact that it's on the site. So if you're watching it, don't worry, links in the description, go watch it. I'm just explaining all the hell that I had to go through in order to make this happen. I really didn't think it would be this much of a fuck around, but I should have known better. So yeah, anyway, that's my little rant about everything that I had to go through in order to do this, and I'm really hoping there is not a time where I'm going to need to try and digitize another one of these comic books. Anyway, thank you for listening to me rant, and go and read the comic book now. I think you've earned it from listening to me just spill on for the last, like 7 minutes. And not a single fuck was given that day.